Hi folks, I'm Paco Torres with Keller Williams Realty, and I thought I'd make this video today to shed a little light on the lending side of buying a home. To do that, I thought I'd bring in an expert. Today with me we have bfreshman with George Mason Mortgage. Ben, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Ben, I thought we'd jump right into it and let's talk about pre-qualification and pre-approval.
Okay.
Let's take a rundown on what each means and maybe some of the major differences between them.
Sure.
Let's start with pre-qualification.
Okay. So generally we're going to do a pre-qualification process. It's going to have you fill out an application. I'm going to take a look at your credit report, make sure that everything looks good there. And I'm going to get some initial documents from you, pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements, things like that. I'm going to get the entire picture of what your financial situation looks like, make sure that we're in a good position to buy a home, and what you might be able to qualify for.
Okay, great. Question about the pre-qualification process. How long does that take?
Honestly, I can do it in a matter of hours, right? Say, for example, you have a buyer that's ready to go. Give me a call. I can take the application right over the phone and run the credit right there. Assuming that they can give me these documents pretty quickly, can email them right over to me, I can have a pre-qualification letter within the hour.
Is the pre-qualification letter a finalized statement on what the bank will loan?
It is not. It is me taking an initial look at your creditworthiness and your financial situation just to make sure that we're going down the right path and that you can ultimately accomplish what you're looking for. But it's not finalizing any numbers at all.
What is involved after the pre-qualification? What's needed after that?
Not much until you find a property, right? So the pre-qualification is going to give me a good idea about what you can afford and what sort of properties that you're looking for. Once you actually do find a home, then we'll tighten things up a little bit and we'll take the next steps from there.
Now let's move on to pre-approval. Can you tell us a little bit about pre-approval?
Absolutely. So the pre-approval process is going to take it even one step further, meaning I'm going to have all of the documents and information that I gathered from your buyer already. I'm going to create an official file in my system, and I'm going to send that file then into an underwriter, get another set of eyes on it, and get even more detail and more confirmation that you're going to be good to go.
Okay, and for those of us out there that don't know what a underwriter is, could you tell us who that is?
Of course. So an underwriter is ultimately the person that's going to say yes or no. Okay, so I'm going to take all the information. I know what I'm looking at, right? But the underwriter at the end of the day is going to say approved or not. And so if we get that up front, they're digging into all of that information a little bit more than I am, and we're just going to have that extra confirmation that you're going to be in good shape.
Okay, great. And how long does the pre-approval process take?
So the pre-approval process can take about 10 days probably, because remember, we're getting into much more detail. I might get even a few more documents from you. I'm going to put a tight file together and I'm going to send it in. Now, this being our busy season, our underwriters are looking at a lot of loans. I can't automatically guarantee it's going to jump to the top of the pile, but we're going to get to it very quickly to make sure that we're going down the right path and that we're on the same page.
All right. And is the pre-approval a finalized statement on what the bank will loan?
No, it's still not, but it's much more detailed. For example, the underwriter might say this number instead of this number, but it's still not going to be finalized. Once you actually have a property, we're going to tighten up all those numbers, make sure that everything still looks good. You'll see there's lots of variance between one property to another, right? So it's more of a general loan limit or a loan target to go for.
Okay, Ben, so what is needed after pre-approval?
Sure. So we already have a file in your system. I already have the majority of your documents, if not all of them. What we're going to do at that point, once you have a property and a ratified contract in place, really all we're going to need is an appraisal on that property and then the title work, and you should be good to go.
Okay, and a question for you. When gathering all this information from the buyer, how far back do you need to go for, say, pay stubs and W-2s, etc.?
Sure. So for pay stubs, we're going to get 30 days worth. Depending on how you paid, it usually means the last 3, right? And then we're going to take a look at your last 2 years work history. You're allowed to change jobs. You're allowed to move around. What we don't want to see is large gaps in employment, but even then we can talk around that, figure it out. And then we're going to get your last 2 years of W-2s as well. If you're self-employed, we just get the last 2 years of tax returns and make sure that everything lines up.
All right, great. Thanks, Ben. All right, folks, and what that means for you is when you take the time to get pre-approved, you're making the process go quicker and smoother, as there will be less unforeseen problems arising during the process. This puts you in a stronger negotiating position, say if you were in a bidding war, as getting pre-approved will make you stand taller and stronger against those other buyers out there that only pre-qualified. This also gives you the opportunity to waive the financing contingency. That's a strong negotiating position. I mentioned that in a video a while back. Check it out, top 5 strategies for winning a bidding war. But anytime you take a contingency out of the equation, that looks better in the eyes of the seller. So what we're doing here is making your offer look better for the seller. If you're that much more likely to make it to the closing table with less problems during the process, then your offer becomes stronger. This also works during a normal transaction. Say if you wanted to put in a lowball offer, you're putting in a lower offer, but you're making it stronger with the ability to waive that financing contingency and the fact that you're pre-approved. So that does wonders, guys. And I'm not just saying this to make everything sound nice and to sell you on pre-approval. Everyday real estate transactions fall apart due to some unforeseen problem with financing. My aim is always to put my clients in the best buying position possible. One of the ways I do that is by always getting them pre-approved before we even go out to look at a home. Folks, if you found any value, please hit the like button and share with your friends. If you'd like to talk a little further about the pre-approval process, I've included Ben's contact information below. My name is Paco Torres. Thanks for watching.